Hmm. You're a young wizard seeking treasure and glory. You're walking along the path in the forest, one day's journey from the Ring City, your beloved home. Night has just fallen, and you're thinking of how it might be a good idea to find a campsite after all. You're in a goblin territory and it's dangerous to travel in the dark. Suddenly you smell something awful. Reginald, are you responsible for that outrageous smell? You ask the warrior striding ahead of you. Pray no, I'm always downwind from my companions when I squeeze the bellows, Reginald answers. You realize that you have never encountered this stench before, and it is close, and perhaps it is your imagination, but the muffled breathing you just heard? What do you do? Uh, Shout a warning to Reginald. It's an ambush, you shout. Startled, Reginald springs off the ground like a jackrabbit, his chain armor jingling. Just then, out of the bush rush several snarling goblins, their eyes glowing green in the murky darkness. They charge with their short spears. Mana decreased by 2. With an arcane word and a flourish of one hand, you send a bolt of fire in the leader of the charge, who drops to the ground thrashing in flames. Reginald hacks down another with his sword. The remaining 3 run away, whooping and yipping. Their cries are joined by the others from the dark forest all around you. Many calls for too many goblins to fight toe to toe. It's a hunting party, probably tracking wild game. We humans are a delicacy much better than mutton. You guard the 2 dead goblins on the ground. Dead goblins are worth 10 gold pieces per head in the city. Luckily, you don't need to carry heads around. The city authorities will accept left ears. Cut the ears. Get the ears, you exclaim as you pull out your razor sharp dagger from your belt. For a second, your sometimes slow witted warrior sidekick doesn't understand, but as you start sawing away at the first ear, he gets the idea and fishes out his own dagger. Soon you have a bloody goblin ear stuffed in your pocket. And Reginald has one of his own, nasty, very, however, 10 gold pieces are nearly 6 months of wages to a common laborer, so you're willing to take the hit. What now? Reginald asks. Certainly there is an excellent place to hide in the forest if we can just make it until morning. True, goblins may have dogs and their own sense of smell is keen. We might climb a tree then. That we would at least be defensible, Reginald suggests. You wish it to be treed like a fox with goblins barking underneath? If you wish a position that is both defensible and allows some freedom of movement, we should hasten to Castle Inverness. It is near, and we could fortify ourselves behind those walls, Reginald says. You frown. It is a fortress, yes, but inhabited by what? God knows what manner of creatures may have taken up residence in the ruins over the years. Garrison in the ruins. Uh, no. Let us take refuge behind the stone of the walls of the castle in Inverness, you say. Goblin hunting calls echo from all around in the forest as 2 of you dash up this path of 100 meters or so, where you find a fork in the road. The path to the right appears to be seldom used and is nearly overgrown. The path to the left is clear. You think you could see a firelight down the way. Could this fire belong to goblins, or if you're lucky, is it the campfire of another friendly adventuring party? I'm gonna guess that's goblins. After a minute of stumbling down what is best described as a game trail, you see a shadowy husk of the ruins in the moonlight ahead. Unfortunately, battle cries of your pursuers are closer than ever, and when you look back over your sea glowing eyes, ooh, yucky. 2 of you turn on a burst of speed. Soon the outer wall of the castle looms before you. It is about 10 feet high and crumbling. You realize before that there are no holes on this side of the large enough to fit through. Meanwhile, Reginald is faster runner than yourself, has disappeared around the corner, and the goblins are behind my ass. Turn and blast them. Die, filthy vermin, you shout as you turn to face your pursuers. They are not far behind, and only have to wait a few seconds before they are in range. You shout the spell trigger word, and a gout of flames erupt from your outstretched hand, engulfing the goblins. They scream shrilly for a moment, then fall silent as their flaming bodies crumble to the ground. No more goblins are visible, so you can. I don't know why I was having such trouble reading. So you can run. So you run. Sorry. So you run to catch up with Reginald as around the north side you see him above a section partially crumbled wall. He helps you scramble over the top around gangplank. He grins at you and nods in direction you came from. Guards, you've struck terror into their advance party. However, they will call for reinforcements and we will have the wall. The question remains, can we hold it? We could go in. He points to the castle. We can't hold the wall, so I'm gonna guess go into the castle. 2 are enough to defend, are not enough to defend all 4 walls. Away to the keep, you shout. You run across the courtyard, the open large wooden double doors, which shriek on rusty hinges. Unlocked. This may be a trap, my friend. We best be on guard. Once inside, Reginald slams the bars the door. The entrance climbing, it is large with high vaulted ceiling. The stone walls are cracked and flaking. The ground is strewn with loose rubble. The air is stale aside from double doors. Behind you, there's a closed wooden doors. On the northeast and west walls, near the north door, there is a stairway going up. It is blocked by rubble. It is not long before the front doors begin to rattle violently. Through a nearby arrow slit, you can see the glowing eyes and the glint of axes chopping away at the doors. You're not sure how long the barred portal will hold. Reginald wants to hide deeper in the castle. This place smells of death. You might be proven to. I'm gonna go search around. Okay, I get that. You motion Reginald to check the east door, inspect the grounds, and see that there's been traffic through here. Some of the tracks on the ground, this dusty floor, appear to be from human-sized shoes or boots, while others appear to be from bare feet, far too large to be from men. None of the tracks appear to belong to goblins. Listening, you can't hear anything over the goblins stomping and screaming outside. You direct the light of your lantern at the northern door and are about to return toward the eastern door when something catches your attention. Was that an eye, you wonder? You think you caught a glimpse of a glistening eyeball through a rotting hole in the northern door. Casually, as though just taking another look around, you sweep your lantern light over the door again, pausing for just an instant at that spot. Yes, that was an eye. You're being watched, and although your glimpse of it was fleeting, you could tell the eye did not belong to a human. The white of the orb is pink with blood, while the retina is pitch black and large. You would like to get a better look at the creature. There is a minor spell you normally use to magically open doors from a distance. You find it tedious opening doors yourself. As long as the door is unlocked, you could use this lazy wizard spell to open the eye door without being too close. On the other hand, that may frighten or anger whomever that eye belongs to. Perhaps you should just talk to it. Maybe you can join forces against goblins. Alternatively, you might be able to hurl a bolt of fire through the eye hole. Not an easy shot, but you can have the element of surprise. Finally, there is some running options. A choice that has been keeping wizards alive for. Talking to the creature, it's an ogre. It's going to hurt you. Shooting the eye hole, it's an ogre. Open the door. With a wave of your hand, you open the door. Light of your lantern streams into the doorway to reveal a huge muscled monster stooping over. He holds a massive spike club in one hand and a melon-sized rock in the other. He steps into the room. Neville's tongue. It's an ogre, Reginald. How he knows this, you do not know. You're willing to take his word for it. The creature appears to be surprised at suddenly being exposed. Then you see a nasty look starting to spread over its face. You need to act fast. Hmm. Uh, let's let the goblins in and run. You yell for Reginald to follow you and lead him towards the eastern door. As you go, you cast a minor spell, knocking the bolt from the braces of the front double doors. Like a tidal wave crashing on the beach, a heap of goblins fall into the room, creatures one on top of another. A chorus of glee erupts from their fanged mouths. Arrows and spears fly over between the goblins in front, hitting a few of them. Unfortunately, you are struck by a spear too, although it's only a flesh wound. Meanwhile, the ogre roars in rage, throwing his rock at the first goblin, striking in the chest with such nasty crunching sound that you know the goblin will never get up. Reginald and you nearly collide in your haste through the eastern portal. You hope there is no ogre waiting behind the door to. Once through, you slam the door closed. From the entrance chamber you just left, you hear goblin yips of triumph turn into screams of terror, which are immediately drowned out by an earth-shaking snarl. Next you hear the sharp slapping of flesh against flesh and the wet sound of bodies ripping apart. Find a way to handle a horde of goblins, you think. Despite your desperate situation, you smile to yourself as you run. You run from one room to the next, getting as far as you can from that ogre, or whatever it is. It's not much of a housekeeper, anyhow, the castle full of giant cobwebs, broken furniture. Finally, you enter a large room, a dining room, as evidenced by a large wooden table and two fireplaces. You motion Reginald to stop, and you both listen. Faintly, you can hear the far-off sounds of battle from behind you. Can't leave that way, you think. Of course. Do you really want to leave anyway? There may be treasure about. You step slow to a crawl as you try to make up your mind what to do. Just then you hear Alice. Wait, but breathing? Is that crying? Investigate the sound. For glory and loot, you think to yourself, take the lead. You quickly realize that the sound seems to be coming from this very room. You creep over to the other end of the dining hall and see a young woman sitting on the ground, chained to a fireplace, rocking back and forth and sobbing. Her cries break off, and she looks up at you with an expression of fear that quickly turns to surprise. Who, who are you? She asks. You tell her your names and that you are here to smite evil, making your fortunes. This brings a smile to her face, a pretty smile, you suspect, although it's hard to tell under all the dirt and smudge on her face. She gives her name as Siba and says there is a key to her chains on the table. Sure enough, beside cracked and dusty china is a small brass key. As you set about unlocking her, she tells you that she is a merchant's daughter who was traveling with her father, a trade caravan, when it was attacked by a mighty ogre with a small band of priests of an evil god. Wearing dark cloaks, those of her party, not killed in the initial attack, were taken prisoner, chained up in this room. One by one, they were taken away by the priests, never to return. They took my father, Siba sniffs. No doubt he is slain, but I must try to find him. Will you help me? You ask if she has any idea where her father or the others might be, but she knows little of the rest of the castle. Reginald takes you aside and says, ought we to take her to safety and then look for her father on our own? She'll be in danger traveling with us. You agree that having some half-starved, unarmed merchant's daughter tripping along behind you will only get her killed. But where is safety? Last time you checked, the courtyard was crawling with goblins. According to her, the castle residents are not very good hosts. What do you do? Okay, so let's see. Probably get stabbed. She dies. She dies. I'm gonna guess that you escort her out. One of the bad guys is gonna find you and you're gonna get like stabbed or something. Uh, Hide her and move on might be your best option because the bad guys will try to search outside of the castle and you can move freely without her. Send her on her way. The goblins are probably gonna stab her and kill her, or the ogre will. chain her back up for now. She's just gonna end up on the bad guy's table. Hide her and move on. There are a ton of hiding places in this room. You find a nice pile of rubble for her to hide behind a few rooms away. You tell her to keep quiet and that you will come back for her. Stay still and quiet here. We will return. Well, if we do not return by morning, escape as best you can, you instruct her. Clever, Reginald says as you leave her. If the priest finds Sipa missing, they will not expect her to remain in the castle. With luck, they will leave the castle together to find her, and we can explore unhindered. You smile. You say with a smile. Yeah, I want that to stop. The castle is quiet and dark. You walk into a wide hallway that branches off in two directions. One direction is covered in a thick layer of dust, while the other is covered in footprints. You decided that it would be wise to get a lay of the land before looking for any trouble. Despite the faint smell of rotting flesh from the dusty hall, you decided that it would be wise to go this way first. Less monsters, more treasure, or at least you hope. You kept your lantern hooded, only allowing slivers of light out. After all, you want to remain stealthy. The way is dim, however, you find yourself tripping over rubble and an odd piece of furniture. Ahead there's a stench of rot, making you wonder if there might be something terrible hidden in the shadows. Too bad you can't see in the dark like a goblin. What do? Unhood the lantern. Since you appear to be entering a vacant part of the castle, you expect your light will not attract enemy attention, and so you unhood your lantern to see your way clearly. As you move along, the cobwebs thicken and thicken. Spider, Reginald yelps. He points his sword up at the ceiling. There's an enormous hairy spider suspended by a mass of yarn-thick webs. The webs are dotted with small, silky cocoons you suspect might encase rats or other small prey. Okay, I was hoping that wasn't like humans. With trembling fingers, Reginald sheaths his sword and unslings his bow. He takes in a big breath, and as he fits an arrow, draws back the string and fires. The spider flails in its long legs for a moment, then drops out of the web onto the floor with a thud. The two of you move on, taking extra care to watch the ceiling. Eventually, the two of you make your way to a spiral staircase going up. The upper regions of the foul places like this are safer than the lower levels. Why in Neville's tongue would that? That's what Reginald said. Why in Neville's tongue would that be? You say? Reginald shrugs. Don't ask me. What is in the mind of the fiends, evil-hearted beasts? Perhaps they prefer the darkness and stagnant air below ground. You look up the stairway and sigh. Well, perhaps we can get a view of the courtyard and the goblins will appear. Reginald leads the way up the stairs, which leads into a small tower. Moonlight filters in through the two windows. This room is finely furnished, and otherwise much more nicely kept than the rest of the castle you visited so far. There is a small bed, still made, on one end, and an ornate table, and a bookshelf on the table is an open fairy tale book, and a golden embossed hand mirror. Seeing loot, you forget about the windows and the potential view of the courtyard. You pick up the mirror to inspect it. Strange, says Reginald. There's no dust up here. And do you feel a draft? We are in a ruin, you say. Of course there's a draft. The glass in the windows are still intact, mutters Reginald, gazing at your own reflection in the mirror. You decide you look pretty good. All things considered, you brush cobwebs from your wavy brown hair. You smile. You look happy. I mean, why do I keep reading it like keep reading words that don't exist there? You're happy to see that your teeth are looking particularly good. Of course, you deserve nice teeth, since unlike most people, you know you take care of them Every morning you wipe your teeth with a clop dipped into cleaning concoction consisting of vinegar, salt, a little sand, and a small measure of your own urine. Ill. Just disgusting. You're bound to pull yourself away from the mirror and put it in your backpack when you glimpse a translucent skull with thin wispy hair just behind you. In the reflection, you spin around and see not a skull, but a young girl floating a few feet in the air. Her pale face fixed on you. Reginald sees her too, as evidenced by him running down the stairway. Reginald is like, fuck this shit, I'm out. This is hilarious. Reginald's like, I don't fuck with ghost girls. I'm out of this shit. How dare you touch what is mine? The ghostly girl shouts. You back up and reflexively put the mirror back on the table. You have heard tales of powerful ghosts that can suck the life right out of you, and you wonder if this girl is one of those. Run for the stairs, protection from evil spell, and apologize. I feel like I don't have to waste a mana here. Running for the stairs will get me a loss of HP. I'm betting she'll get extremely pissed and hit me. The spell will protect me, but I don't think I need to protect myself from her. Maybe if I apologize. I apologize, my lady. It is only that this is such a fine mirror, and I wish to admire it. She glares at you for a moment, then the hard expression on her translucent face softens. I am the Duchess Inverness. My father, the Duke, gave me that as a gift. You have heard stories of Duke Inverness and the mysterious circumstances around the demise of his house. Despite your fear, you feel a pang of sadness for his daughter, who now shimmers before you, trapped in this world. And these books, why they look like excellent stories in there. In here, you stammer. Read that one to me, the girl commands. Of course, my lady, you answer. Luckily for you, a wizard, you know how to read. You pick up the book of fairy tales from the desk and begin on the first page. She stops you and demands that you read her the story about the unicorn. With trembling hands, you page through the book. Eventually, you find the story and begin reading. The ghost floats up behind you as though to peer down at the pictures. You feel a slight chill on your shoulder. Sometime later, you look up from her book and see Reginald peeking around the corner of the stairway at you. He's like, oh shit, I forgot my wizard. I gotta go back and get him. And now he's just standing there like, what the fuck do I do? You shake your head slightly at him and then return your attention to the book. In the story, the unicorn taps her hoof against a castle wall, a wall in the castle, and a secret passage opens up. As you read this, little ghost girl, smiles and says, "There is a secret passage in this castle as well. It is a foul place, a place where people are never taken to return." Why did I read that backwards? Never taken to return. That is. Oh god, I read that backwards. Are taken never to return. Where is the secret passage you speak of, you ask? In my father's library there is a statue. Push the arm of the statue down, she explains. You're intrigued by this and wish to ask her more, but she points at the book impatiently, and so you get back to it. Upon finishing the book, the girl demands you read another. You wonder how long she might keep this up. Time means nothing to her, after all. You would like to get back to Reginald, and what of Seba's father? Rescuing the merchant might mean a fine reward, and there's Seba, herself, of course. You would like to find her before something else does. What do you do? Run for the stairs. Again will get me hurt. Read her another story. I feel like that's a bad option with the attempt to excuse yourself. If you read her another story, I'm guessing that something's gonna happen to you, that, like, you're gonna lose HP. Run for the stairs, I'm definitely guessing it's just you're gonna lose HP. I'm going for attempt to excuse yourself. Beautiful and gracious Duchess, May I ask your full name, you ask? Gabriella, Gabriella, Duchess of Inverness. She answers, did I just say Gabriella? It's Gabriella. Gabriella, Duchess Gabriella of Inverness. She answers, my lady, you bow. I beg your pardon, but there is a young woman in the castle below who requires my assistance. There are evil men, I suspect. They threaten her life. A maiden in distress. Why do you delay? Here, then, be gone. You need no further encouragement. You step lightly toward the door. Wait! Her voice chills you, but you unwillingly turn back. Take this, she says, and the gold-trimmed mirror floats off the table over to you. I cannot see myself any more, she says softly. Generosity fetching a duchess. I thank you most humbly. You bow and then leave. You find Reginald round the corner of the stairs, his sword at the ready. He begins asking you questions, but you put up your hand. Another time, you say. I'll read this chapter later.